So what are the most common questions you get from people when they find out you're a karate practitioner? Well, you know, usually it's, are you a black belt? And how long did it take you to get to black belt? How long is it going to take me to get to black belt? We're going to find out, and we're going to talk about some of those things today on Black Belt Life. Welcome to Black Belt Life. I'm Darren Myers, and today we're going to be talking about that whole thing about black belt, about how everybody is so enamored by the idea of a black belt. Now, please feel free, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe to it and hit the like button if you like what we're talking about, and share, okay? Let people know that we're out there. We would appreciate your help in helping the channel grow. But anyway, let's get into this, okay? So, as I'm going through things, we have our chat open, so feel free to hit the chat and hey, let's talk about it. You know, hit me with some questions. All right. So, what does black belt mean to you? Okay, let's find out. You put your chat in there. Now, this past weekend we had a black belt test here at our dojo, Virginia Martial Arts Center, and it made me think, you know, about black belt and about why it's so important, and is it really that important? Okay, and I want to say that the people who tested, I'm not taking anything away from you by any means. It's just my opinion about things and from my experience and all. So, is black belt that important? Well, black belt, of course, is the ultimate goal in the martial arts when you're a beginner. As you start, as you get into it, that is going to be usually most people's long-term goal. Now, once you get to black belt, okay, we'll talk about what happens after that. But how long does it take the average person to make black belt? Well, if you've got a school that is telling you, you know, you're going in, you're trying to sign up for lessons or whatever, and they're saying, well, in 2 years, you're going to make black belt, or in 3 years, you're going to make black belt. If they give you a time frame and say, you're going to make black belt in 3 years exactly, walk away, okay? Because they don't know you. They don't know what your habits are. They don't know how much effort you're going to put into it. They're just trying to sell you. You want to walk away. So we're going to try not to talk about the belt factories and the McDojos and that kind of stuff, but really serious martial arts. Okay, so black belt is really the culmination of years of training, and it's going to take time. You've got to be ready and prepared to put the time in, and you've got a lot of physical skills to learn. First of all, you got to get in shape. You got to work on your flexibility. You got to work on your endurance. You got to work on your strength. All those things are extremely important to get to black belt. In order to be able to do the techniques that a black belt would be able to do, you've got to be in shape. So getting in shape is going to be a big part of it, and that's why a lot of people take martial arts. They're tired of the gym and the mindless weightlifting and stuff like that, and they want something that's going to be challenging, and they're going to learn something from it. So, and speaking of learning things, there's going to be an enormous amount of knowledge that you're going to have to work on. Kata, self-defense, bunkai, applications of things, and then just the history and all that. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge, and that's what's going to keep you motivated, is the fact that you are constantly learning. Also, what's really important is the character development, okay? Training a person to be a leader, training a person to have confidence, to be disciplined, to have the focus to do their best at anything they do in life. And I will tell you, you make black belt, you're probably going to be pretty good at anything else you put your mind to. Now, black belt means a lot of different things to different people and to different styles, different organizations, different schools, etc. So, because it means so many different things, how do we set standards? What are the standards of a black belt if everybody's so different? It really comes down to the standards of what you learned, okay, what I was taught from my sensei, the standards that he put toward me. And I think there's kind of two sides to that. There's the standards of more the modern school, which is very concerned about, doing business and, being a business, etc., as well as a martial arts school. And then there's the very traditional school where they're more concerned about just quality instruction, very strong quality instruction. And there's a difference between the two, no doubt, okay? But we try to walk a thin line ourselves between both being a good business so that we can stay in business, especially after the past year we've had, and then also keeping the traditions and keeping the honor and the respect and all those things that really make a difference to a person. So really, if somebody asks you how long is it going to take the black belt, you're talking at least 4 or 5 or more years of training. I've had people that took them 4 years. I've had people that took them 11, 12 years, okay? It all depends on the individual. What you put into it is what you get out of it, okay? By far, that is absolutely the truth. Now, there's also a difference in a lot of schools between junior versus senior black belts. And that is a whole different ball of wax. In our particular organization, in our school, you can't get to your senior black belt until you're between the ages of 16 to 18, okay? So before that, you can become a junior black belt, and then there are different levels of junior black belt. The thing I see sometimes in other schools is you'll see a 12-year-old and he's already a 3rd degree black belt. How can that be a case? All right. And then what's going to happen by the time he's 25? He's going to be, a Shihan already, a master, level instructor. It's just not going to happen. I understand that somebody starts at 4, by the time they get to 12, their skills are probably pretty good. So yes, a junior black belt would be appropriate. So, it depends on the school again. It depends on the standards. And now you have, these days, online training, okay? Now, you can go to the back of some of these magazines, martial art magazines, and you could probably find an ad, I almost guarantee you, probably find several that say you can get your black belt online training, from home. Can you? Is it possible? Well, we found out that online training is possible up to a certain level because of the whole pandemic, because of COVID. We went to Zoom training, and we've still got some students that are Zoom training. We had some people who moved away, and they are doing Zoom training because they couldn't find a school nearby. We also have a family that is doing Zoom training from about 40 miles away, and they've only been to the dojo 3 or 4 times. So now, how far can they get? We're going to see. We're going to see how far we can go from that point. And then you've got people who are not just dojo people, but they are serious practitioners and competitors. Like, for instance, in the Olympics we just had Sakura Kokomai and Tom Scott and Brian and Torres, who brought home a medal. Okay, Ariel Torres, fantastic job. These are Olympic athletes. These are black belts that have taken it to the extreme of training and preparing for a particular part of martial arts. Are they good black belts? Absolutely. Okay. Are they working on all the parts of being a black belt? I don't know, but they are focusing and concentrating on one particular area. Okay. Doesn't make them less of a black belt, doesn't make them more, but boy, they are good at what they do. Okay. Now, so what is a black belt? What really is a black belt? Well, back in the 1800s, Jigoro Kano, who was the developer of Judo, the founder of Judo, he developed the first belt system, and martial arts have borrowed it ever since. Really, a black belt is just a cloth belt that holds the gi together. That's all it is a cloth belt. But that belt symbolizes a great deal. And the belt system has actually been most probably the best motivator of all time, okay? It also helps instructors to organize curriculum. It also helps us to track progress and to promote progress, to promote and incentivize beginners and students, and teaches goal setting, all right? Yes, we don't want somebody to just say, oh yeah, I want to get the next belt, I want to get the next belt. No, we want you to learn everything to satisfy the requirements, and we will award you that belt, okay? The belt is not the important thing, it's what you're learning, it's the process of getting there. And that's what a black belt is. It's a milestone that represents great achievement, great honor, great respect, great things that you have done. And it signifies the hard work you've invested in your training of yourself and what you've done to help others as well. Now, a black belt doesn't mean you're an expert. It means something totally different. A black belt simply represents the journey through life, the adversity, the hardships, okay? It has to be something that's difficult. We put upon a black belt that this is going to be a difficult time. There are going to be times when you're going to bleed, when you're going to sweat, when you're going to cry. There are going to be times when you're frustrated. And it's those hardships that develop character. It's those times of adversity and times of difficulty that you're going to truly grow. If we look at, for instance, the Q and the Dan system, the Q system being those people below black belt, and the Dan system are those people at black belt above. Qs, usually in most schools, you got 8, 10, 15, whatever number of Q to get all the way down. It starts at the highest number, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, first Q, and then you test for first Dan. And then you go first Dan, second Dan, all the way to 10th degree black belt. So now, if you look at getting all the way through the Qs and then going to the first Dan, are you even halfway through the black belt system? You're not even close. You are a beginner. And you are now having to understand the concept of Shoshin, or beginner's mind. And that's an important concept all the way through your black belt training, is that you have to understand that I'm still a beginner, and my goal is to be the best beginner possible. So you want to continue to train, you want to continue to do your best, and continue to set higher goals for yourself. I always say, the goal in martial arts is to be better today than you were yesterday. And that's what it's really about, is trying your best every single day. So what does it take to get to black belt? Well, if you, first of all, I know one of my black belts always says, you just got to keep coming through the door. That's the hardest part. And it truly is. Because let's face it, life gets in the way these days. We've got a lot of things that can get in our way, that can really help us, make us lose our focus. So trying to keep showing up, try to keep coming through that door every day is what black belt is about. And you've probably heard the saying, black belt is just a white belt who never quits. It's a, kind of a cliche saying, but boy, is it the truth, okay? You just have to keep coming through the door. Getting to black belt is going to take a tremendous amount of patience. You're going to have patience in yourself because you're going to want to be better, and sometimes you just don't see that progress going as fast as you want. You're making progress, but as you get higher and higher, those steps get smaller and smaller and smaller because you're working on fine motor skills. In the very beginning, you're working on very gross motor skills, how to do a block, how to do a punch. Now later on, you're learning how to twist that just the right amount, get it out at the right angle, etc. So you're trying to make things that much more precise. And that takes patience, it takes hard work, it takes perseverance. And we're going to push you. We're going to push you. We're going to make you work hard. We're going to make you do push-ups. We're going to make you do squat kicks. We're going to make you do all kinds of exercises that are going to work those muscles like you've never worked before. And that's what perseverance is about. We're going to push you to your limit. And that's what black belt is about. It's finding new limits. It's finding new levels of expertise that you never knew you had. It's like we say in the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. Okay? When you first start, you have no idea what there is to learn. You've seen it on TV, you've seen it in magazines and the movies and all that stuff, but you don't know what the material really is. And then you get to a point where you start to know what you don't know. And you go, man, I don't know a lot. Okay? And then you get to a point where you know what you don't know. Oh, well, I just said that. Okay, but you get to a point where you know what you know. And you go through these different stages throughout all your martial arts training. But the main thing is, no matter what belt, what level, what kyu, what dan, you've got to learn the material. You've got to learn the requirements to get the black belt. So you have to be able to learn them, and you have to be able to perform them to a certain level of proficiency. So you got to know your material. I always get people ask me, how many classes does it take to get to the next belt? Okay, and I'm like, well, it's this many classes, but you gotta know your stuff. You gotta know the material. You've got to be able to perform it to a certain level of proficiency. I don't care if you've got 100 classes. You have to know your material and be able to do it well. And I would say to people who are coming up, attend all the extra stuff, all the extra events that you can. I know as I was coming up as a student, man, every weekend I was at a seminar, a clinic, a camp, a tournament, whatever it was. If there was an event going on, I was there, okay? Because if I went to an event, say I went to a camp or seminar, and let's say they weren't teaching my style of martial art, I was learning something different, something new. And not that I was trying to change styles or anything, but it gave me a better understanding of what I was doing. Maybe somebody was trying to explain the exact same concept that my sensei was trying to beat into my head, and I just couldn't grasp it. And now somebody says it a little bit differently, presents it in a different way, and all of a sudden, bing, the light comes on. And now I have a better understanding of my technique. So go to all the extra events that you can. This coming weekend, we have a summit where we're going to be doing all kinds of different classes. Everybody should be at that. Everybody should be trying to get more and more information. All right, now, how do you become a black belt? You don't really become a black belt. You don't all of a sudden one day receive your black belt and now you're a black belt. You've been evolving into a black belt ever since you started. Ever since you stepped onto that dojo floor, got that white belt tied onto you, and now every step has been part of that evolution, part of that process to get you to the level of black belt and the proficiency of black belt. Now, yes, there's a test, okay? What's the test going to be like? Is it going to be tough? Is it going to be, a tough test? In my opinion, yes, it should be a tough test, okay? It should be a milestone test. And I've seen some schools that they go through a grueling marathon of exercises, of running and more exercises and push-ups and just all kinds of things. Then they get into the kihon and the kata, the basics, the bunkai, the self-defense, the sparring, and even board breaking, okay? Now, I've seen other tests where it was a grandiose karate demo production with lights and music and musical kata and almost like dancing moves and gymnastics and all. And they're putting on a show basically for the parents and then awarding their black belts. Okay? That's a different way of doing it. Okay? I've also seen where people just make it a formal ceremony. It's something that you have been working toward for years, and over a process of maybe months or weeks or days, they've been checking everything, and now they just have a formal ceremony where they just award you the belt. Now, which is the right way? They're all different. They're all right. They're all okay, as long as the idea of getting to black belt and what comes with that, the honor, the respect, the courtesy, the humility, all those things, it is all part of being a black belt and becoming a black belt. So just because you go through a test and all of a sudden you're awarded a black belt, that's really, you've been almost a black belt before that. You've been a black belt prior to that, maybe. To me, it should be a challenging test because that's just the way I was brought up. But I think it is, by having that challenging test, you are going to feel like you're getting super prepared. You're getting out there, you're doing extra exercises, you're running, you're practicing, you're really getting prepared for this event. And then your instructor is going to put you through a very good, pretty intensive test. Now, understand, your instructor is not going to put you up for the test unless he or she thinks you're ready. So the fact that they've said, okay, you're going to test on this date or this summer or this, winter, they're saying we believe you're ready. We believe you're ready for this. We believe you are a black belt, and we're going to put you through the ceremony, the ceremonial test, in order to award it to you and make a good day of it. And it's going to be a demonstration of your best skills. And that test, ours is pretty intense. As a matter of fact, we don't even allow underbelts, people under brown belt, to come to the test. Okay, simply because we had it years ago and white belts came, everybody came, and a whole bunch of people quit because they went, oh my gosh, I'll never be able to do that. But that's the thing. By the time you get there, you're ready. You're ready for exactly what we're going to put you through, because we have prepared you and you have prepared yourself. And we grow through overcoming those harsh conditions and that grueling test and that everything that you are that is put in front of you. You are going to give it your best. Let's face it, black belts aren't snowflakes, okay? They're not snowflakes. They are people that have put forth the effort, have really tried their best and all. Now, what comes after black belt, okay? Because a lot of times we talk about black belt and everything, but we don't talk about what's after that. And a new black belt is by no means an expert, okay? Again, remember I was talking about how you're not even halfway through the program. You're not, okay? I've been doing this for, getting close to 5 decades, and I'm still learning. I'm still working on the process. And it's a new process. It's a different process than it was when I was 20. But black belt does not mean you're an expert. It means you're highly proficient in the basic techniques and principles of karate. But your journey is only beginning. You're only starting on the really serious stuff, the serious techniques, the serious applications of karate. Getting to a black belt isn't the end of training by any means. And unfortunately, we've had students who quit after earning black belt. And I'm sure many instructors have. And the question is, should they have even received that rank if they were going to quit afterwards? Well, maybe we as instructors didn't do our job of finding out what their goals were after that, or helping them set goals prior to them getting to black belt and saying, you're getting a black belt now, here's what's coming afterwards. So one of the big things should be teaching. Teaching becomes a huge part of one's advanced training as we develop a deeper understanding through explaining to others how the techniques work. Sure, it's easy to do a down block, but what's it like when you have to explain how to do a down block to others? How does that change your thought process about it when you have to now put it into words and into a description that other people can understand and pick up on? So you learn a great deal about your own technique when you're teaching others. You can also get into, as a black belt, you get into things like officiating at tournaments, okay, coaching athletes. Okay, I have a good friend. He just had two students in the Olympics, and he also was the head coach for the Kumite, or the head coach for Kumite